I noticed that in foster care, actually this is true in all of life, but it's especially acute in foster care. When people care deeply about something which they don't have the ability to control, it's very frustrating. You care about something, you can't influence it. Sometimes these things, areas of concern, which are frustratingly outside our control, have a huge impact on our quality of life and our peace of mind, and especially in an upper middle class community where we're accustomed to having total control over our experiences. Something that helps me to process this experience, a mental model, you might say, is to think about the world in 3 different spheres. My sphere of concern, my sphere of influence, and my sphere of control. There's a whole world of things that I am concerned about, but over which I have no control and no influence. Sometimes these things frustrate and annoy me. Sometimes they create stress for me. Sometimes they bring me great delight. But understanding that I can neither control nor influence them helps me to reframe my relationship with these things. On these issues, the things that are in this sphere, I am just a spectator. Now, I might want to be more than a spectator, but that's what I am. Stress over these things all you want, but that is unproductive stress. And I prefer productive stress. Now, there is an almost equally long list of things which I do have the ability to influence, but don't have the ability to control. Now, my attention on these things, the things that I'm both concerned about and have some influence over, is a little more productive. In this arena, I'm not just a spectator. I can give a little nudge. I can put my thumb on the scale, but I don't necessarily, on the things in this sphere, have total control over the outcome. It's not necessarily my full responsibility or my fault, but I do have the ability to give a nudge. So I have to be an effective steward of the influence that I do have, so I ask myself, have I made the best possible use of my influence? And of course, there are things that are completely within my sphere of control, and the attention that I spend on them is the most productive of all of my attention. If my sphere of control is in chaos, generally that's because I've been focused on things that are outside of it. And what sense does that make? That's chaos of my own creation. So I need to recalibrate and get to work. So I've gotten into the habit of asking myself a series of questions regularly. First of all, what is within my control? How much of the chaos that I experience is of my own making? What is outside of my control but within my influence? Am I making the best possible use of my influence? And what is outside of both my influence and control? And finally, what can I do to expand my sphere of influence and my sphere of control? And I ask myself those questions in order to focus my effort on the things within my sphere of control first, because that's where my attention is most productive, and then my sphere of influence second. And that last question, what can I do to expand my sphere of influence and my sphere of control? There's usually some productivity hidden behind that question, because often the work I do to expand my influence or expand my sphere of control actually doubles as an effective way to exert my influence. So I don't ask myself that question quite enough. So there you have it. It's a mental model that I've been using and pondering lately. Sphere of influence, sphere of concern, sphere of control. It's useful to me. I hope it's useful to you.